Okay, so we are going to be doing just this one lesson today. It's called Language of Transformations. And basically what it's going to require us to do is we're going to be reading words and taking the English sentence and converting it into a mathematical equation. So it's kind of like working backwards. In the past, we were given an equation and we were graphing it and talking about it. Now we're given the words and we're figuring out the equation. Let's look at question number 1. It says, state the equation of a parabola with a vertex at 3, 4, congruent to y is equal to x squared, but reflected in the x-axis. You're probably wondering, what does the word congruent mean? And I'm going to tell you that congruent means same as. So basically, this question is asking us that, or telling us that we have a parabola, y is equal to x squared. However, it has these transformations. So what is the new equation when you apply these transformations? Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, we know our equation is going to start with y is equal to, and I just go in order. I know from before, from the past, we have y is equal to a, and then we have x minus h squared plus k. So this is where you put the reflection and the stretch or compression. This is where you put the horizontal translation. This is where you put the vertical translation. So that's the order I'm going to use. Do we have a reflection? Yes, we do. So I'm going to put a negative sign to show that it's a reflection. Do we have a stretch or compression? No. Do we need a number here then? No, it's just going to be a 1, which you don't need to write down. So you can just keep it as a negative sign. Okay. Now, do we have a horizontal translation? Yes, we do. And how do we know that? Because our vertex is at 3, 4. So if I were to just sketch this out, 3, 4 is approximately there. So how many units have we moved and which way are we moving? Rain, what do you think? Oh, you didn't have your hand up. Yeah, Krishna? Yeah, so how are we going to represent that in a bracket? Krishna? It's going to be x minus 3. And because our original parabola is y is equal to x squared, we have to remember to put the little square there. And our parabola is also moving up 4 units. So how do I represent that here? It's just going to be a plus 4. And that's going to be the final answer. So you just take it in parts and go one transformation at a time. Okay, question number 2 is, state the equation of the resulting parabola if the original parabola y is equal to x squared is translated 3, let's just highlight some stuff. Okay, so translated 3 units to the left and 5 units down. So y is equal to, there's no reflection, there's no stretch or compression. All we know is it's being translated 3 units to the left and 5 units down. So really the only numbers we're going to be looking at are our h value and our k value. And I'm just going to move this over here so we can see it at all times. All right, so we don't need a negative. What are we going to put inside of the bracket? If it's 3 units to the left, yep. X plus 3 squared. And then 5 units down, so what are we going to put for that? Minus 5. Is that pretty straightforward? Okay, let's keep going. Question number 3, state the equation of the resulting parabola. If the original parabola is reflected in the x-axis and it's stretched vertically by a factor of 4. So finally, we're getting into some of the other things. So we have y is equal to, we have a reflection in the x-axis. So how am I going to show that in my equation? It's going to be a negative sign, yep. And it's stretched vertically by a factor of 4. So where do I put that? Inside the bracket, outside, in front of the bracket? Where exactly does that go? Severe? Yeah, right after the negative sign, we're going to put our 4. This means the negative means it's reflected. The 4 means it's a stretch. Do we have a horizontal or vertical translation? No, so we don't need to put anything else. We would just put it as x squared. If we had a horizontal translation, then we would put brackets and show it in here, but we don't. So that's going to be our final answer. Okay, let me know if I'm going too fast or if you don't understand it, but I'm just going to keep going in the meantime. Okay, Samir? Yeah, of course. So question number 4 says, state the equation of a parabola after a translation of 3 units down, a reflection in the x-axis to the original y is equal to x squared. You're going to notice this in every single question because we have to write that. Like we're basically saying the original function is y is equal to x squared. It's a parabola. Now let's do all of these different things to it. All right, can I get a volunteer to tell me what you think you would get for this, just so we can get different people trying? Shweta, go ahead. Okay, so y is equal to negative x squared, negative because of inflation, and then you minus 3 because it's 3 units down. Perfect. Oh no, it's delayed. Okay, it's kind of a little bit delayed. Let's keep going. Question number 5, state the vertex. So this question's asking us for the vertex. We have to do kind of 2 steps here. Of the parabola after y is equal to x squared is reflected in the x-axis, translated horizontally 5 units to the right. So for this question, it's in 2 parts. First, we're going to have to figure out the equation, and then we'll have to figure out the vertex after we figure out the equation. So can I get a volunteer to tell me what you think the equation would be? Reflection and horizontal translation. Volunteers? Guesses? Anyone? Amina, go ahead. Squared. Perfect. Yeah. So the reflection is the negative. Horizontal translation, 5 units to the right means it's going to be x minus 5. And there's nothing else over here. Okay, great. So now we figured this out. The question is asking us, what is the vertex? So what would be the vertex? We don't need to graph it. We just use the equation and figure it out. What do you guys think? Shweta? It'll be 5, 0. So just be mindful. Sometimes the question might be in 2 different parts because it's asking us to figure out the equation and then answer a question based on it. The question could have also said, state the axis of symmetry. And so once you figured out the equation, you can very easily do that. Okay. We continue. Let's try, we'll do orange. State the vertex. Again, they're asking us for the vertex of the parabola after applying a vertical stretch by a factor of 25, a reflection in the x-axis, a horizontal translation, 16 units to the left. I'll pause here, give you a second to try it. All right. Jana Haran, you want to tell me what the equation is? Yep. 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 Excellent. And there is no vertical translation, so that's it. And then you want to just finish it off and tell us what the vertex would be? Yep, exactly. So for you take this number and you switch a sign, and there's no number over here, so it would just be a positive 0. Excellent. 4 questions left. Let's turn to the next page. For the next page, this time we're stating all of the transformations that are gonna happen to these parabolas. This is kind of what we were doing last class, right? When I'm stating my parabolas, I always go from the left to the right. I look at this number. 2.3 is kind of weird because we always said a stretch will be a whole number, but it doesn't have to be. It can be any number greater than 1. It's just that for us to graph it easily, we always make it whole numbers. But in this case, the 2.3 means it is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2.3. I knew it was a stretch because it's a number greater than 1. If it was a fraction, it would be a compression. How about the x plus 20? What does that mean? Safir? Don't know how to write. Horizontal translation, 20 units to the, I think you said left? Because positive 20 means going to the left. Yeah. We'll do one more together and then I'll leave you guys to do questions 9 and 10 yourselves because the answers are at the bottom. A final volunteer for question number 8. Angelique, go ahead. Close. The negative means it's going to be a good. So let's start with that one because I like to go in order. So we're going to go vertical reflection. And you could just say along the x-axis. That's sort of the proper way to say it. You guys, 0.7, that's less than 1. That's a number between 0 and 1. And it's a fraction technically. So is that a compression or a stretch? Yeah, so this is going to be a vertical compression. By a factor of 0.7. And I think, Angelique, you said vertical translation. Nine units